Mills the Virgo here. Mills speaks here. Oh boy. Oh boy. So this beat is called Work to Do. Those of you who are aware of the sample, y'all would think it's from the Vanessa Williams Work to Do. But it's not. It's another song. It's another song. And I guess I probably should have been prepared for this. I think the song was called Work to Do back in the day. So Vanessa Williams' song Work to Do from the early 90s sampled this older song from probably the 60s or 70s. Okay, yeah. So Vanessa Williams, hers actually got, her song was sampled from Average White Band's Work to Do. Okay, so I love that sample. I used the sample. This is a beat that I definitely wanted to shop to, like Jay-Z, because I had like Illusions of Grandeur when I was a child, which you should always think that you can make it there. And this is one of my favorite beats that I think was a whole beat. Like I actually had tracks for every single instrument, and every single thing that you hear had its own track. I had to mix it down, so it was different. It was a different process and experience for me. So I love this beat, and I just wanted to use it for episode 16. This episode is called Blah Blah Blah. I think I'm gonna end up naming it something like Us, Curry, Blah Blah Blah. All of that kind of stuff. Because I have a few things to discuss. I kind of feel like I have a lot to discuss. So, we'll get right into it. I'm not going to lollygag here. I've already brought the beat down, so, let's do it. So, I've got tons of notes here. So many things have happened. Let me just tell you what it is. It's hard out here right now to be a woman, okay? It's hard out here to be a woman. Especially when you have people who you think are allies to the cause, and they want to be just ignorant ass men. You know what I mean? And, I think Ayesha Curry learned that this week. I think a lot of people learned this week that, while we say we want women to communicate more, use your words, tell me what's going on with you, all of that, that's not really true. That's not really true. Y'all just want her to shut up. Y'all just want her to shut up and cook, and never mind her feelings, and never mind her emotions. So I just think that it's unfortunate that she got the backlash she got this week. So those of you who are not aware, Ayesha Curry went on the Red Table Talk, which is Jada Pinkett Smith's show, along with her daughter and her mother. Nice little 3-generation setup they got going on Facebook Watch. Ayesha Curry and her mother-in-law, I believe Steph's sister, and then another young lady. So maybe this is the girl that's going to be marrying into the Curry family. I think Doc Rivers has a daughter that's going to be marrying Steph Curry's brother, who plays for the Trailblazers. I'm not sure. I have to actually watch it to determine who all these people are. But it was a nice round table of women just sitting down and talking about everything. So they covered tons of things. I mean, they covered mental health. I think they covered growing up biracial, which, listen, I don't even think I'm ready for that conversation. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I mean, just a little tidbit that I saw from Miss Sonia, who is Steph's mother, Steph and Seth's mother. Miss Sonia had a horrific story about when she was a young girl. She was a scorekeeper for the baseball team or the softball team or something, and they were just in the middle of a game. They were playing a black team, the black team she was on, in scorekeeping for, and they were playing a white team. And just in the middle of the game, the KKK came through, stopped the game, threw out a burning cross, and it was just obviously game over. And so that story alone was amazing. I think I talked to a friend of mine, and I was saying how Willow's face when she tells the story lets you know how far removed, the different ooh, excuse me, y'all. The different generations are from this type of treatment, this type of reality. It also shows how really rich she is and how she probably never has to deal with racism on that type of level. It's probably on a much higher level, a deeper level, another kind of level, but not this. So I just thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, poor Willow. She's over there stressed, honey. But unfortunately, that's not a new thing for me to have heard. And, while it does, bring up like negative, emotions for me, it wasn't a shock and awe statement. It was just like, oh, that's what happened, yeah, down in, okay, what year, 6, 7, okay, yeah, that's about right, and that's unfortunate, because I think we in the South, and a lot of black people, for a lot of things, are desensitized by a lot of horrific things that happen. So, there's that. But the crux of what they discussed was the groupies that the basketball player Steph Curry has. The groupies that Wardell Sr., okay, Steph's father, probably had. And, of course, Seth's brother probably has those. Obviously, Jada Pinkett Smith was able to speak to a lot of this because she had to deal with the things that Will Smith had to deal with as well. So I think every woman probably understands exactly what that conversation is and was. So Ayesha Curry came through and she shared. What she did was she shared. And that's where she fucked up at, apparently. Apparently, you cannot be honest and a woman in these streets. So basically, Ayesha shared that she feels extremely insecure at some points. She's 30 years old. Let me set it up for you guys, for the ones of you in the back who are very confused about her statement. So let me tell you the statement. The statement was that she feels insecure. She doesn't feel like she gets enough male attention because, she feels like people basically look at her as just a mom, and let's just break that down. Let's just fucking break the shit down, because some of you motherfuckers are ridiculous. So she's not saying that she's not satisfied in her marriage. That's number one. She's not saying that she's looking for tons and tons and tons and tons of dick. Okay? She's not saying any of that. She's not saying that she would willingly go along with anyone that does holla. She's not saying that either. What she's saying is that she's 30 years old. She's a mother of 3. She just had that baby, several months ago. Okay? Baby might be coming up on a year now. Might. So she's... Yeah, because I remember her being very pregnant during the time when they won the championship last June. So, and I remember her being very pregnant out there, if I'm not mistaken. So, anyway. So, basically, she's feeling unattractive. She's feeling less than because she doesn't know that she still has it, because everybody approaches her as, hey, Miss Curry, oh, Riley, probably Ryan's mom, probably Steph's wife, probably, hey, Ayesha, let's do a cooking thing. It's never like, oh my God, did you see Ayesha Curry? Damn. It's never that, right? It's never that. And you guys can sit here and say all of the craziness you want, but everybody looks for that type of energy every now and again. The problem that I had with some of these allies, and I'm just going to straight up call Charlamagne the God out on this one, because he's not what you would call a straight up ally, in that he's an understanding person. But where I do credit Charlamagne is that when there are things that he discusses that he's 100% not privy to, certain things, certain information, he goes out, he seeks out the people who would have a good grasp on the topic. He listens to them, he takes this in, and then is able to say, okay, you know what, I don't know enough about this in particular to talk about it, so you know what, I went to these other people and now I have felt this way, or maybe now I look at it that way, or you know what, even though I went to these people, I still feel this way, da-da-da-da. Charlamagne was on some bullshit with like, oh, you shouldn't be looking for validation, and if your husband's giving it to you, that's all you need. That's not what she's saying, number one. And number two, who's saying that that's what Steph's doing? Not to say he's not, but I mean, shit, maybe he's not. I mean, damn, if you're paying attention to basketball right now, the nigga can't shoot. He can't shoot. He can't make a 3-shot right now to save his goddamn life. It's game 6 tonight in Houston, and I'm very worried, okay? I'll be suiting the fuck up, but damn, I'm concerned as hell. I don't know what they're going to be able to do. And KD's out too. So, again, he might not be giving her that at the house, but realistically speaking, he's not perfect. He's not always going to be on it. But, I mean, even if he were giving her this on a regular basis, it doesn't mean that it's not nice to be desired. It doesn't mean that it's not nice to have other people say, oh my god, you look really nice right now. And then, a lot of people are like, oh, well, they don't holler at you because they have a respect for Steph. You're Steph's wife, and nobody's gonna holler, and that's cool. And that's really cool. But where did the respect go once this stuff came out and all of these dudes came up in her DMs being so disrespectful, so abusive? One dude told her that if she was his woman, that he would have knocked her head between the washer and the dryer. Now, what the fuck? Who in the fuck says that, number one? Number two, who the fuck does that? Number three, I wish you would, motherfucker. I wish you would. Bitch ass. So, it's just frustrating, and I feel bad for her about this situation because I totally got what she was saying. I understood totally, and I ain't had to have 3 kids and be, in a space where I have, insecurities like that. I totally get it. And she even started out by saying this is an insecurity of mine. So my biggest issue was when I first heard the quote initially. I think this was Sunday or Monday when it came out, right? So when I initially heard the quote, I did not agree with everything she was saying, but I totally got what she was saying. And I have a feeling that in the world, people are so black and white, they want it to be one way or the other. There is no way in the world, like in some people's minds, that like 2 things could be true, even though those 2 things are like opposite. Like, why the fuck couldn't she speak her truth, be totally within her right to do so, and I just not agree with her stance? You know what I'm saying? I don't have to tear her down to applaud her for being able to make the statement, being able to stand by her statement, and all of that. So when I initially saw the quote, I said, okay, cool. But what was something that is kind of left out for me, and a lot of people just kind of like glassed over it. Like, you guys have glossed over the fact that Jada Pinkett Smith literally says, after she goes into how you're not looking and you're not she literally says, I know what you mean, I felt the same exact way. Like, so you guys are willing to tear down Ayesha Curry, you see what I'm saying, and not Jada Pinkett Smith, who had essentially Jada Pinkett Smith had our generation Steph Curry. Because you guys weren't in a situation where Will was out here cheating. There was no situation where y'all was on the brink of shit. You know what I'm saying? If y'all was on the brink of shit, it wasn't because Will Smith was being unfaithful. It wasn't because you were being unfaithful. It was because maybe you guys weren't getting the things that you wanted and that you desired out of the relationship. Or maybe it's just time. I'm tired of you, motherfucker. I've been seeing your face every day for 15, 20 years. Fuck, I'm tired. You never know what it could have been. But here we are, all of these years later, and they're still together. You see what I'm saying? And Jada Pinkett, if you ask me, had less leeway to feel the way that she felt, because Jada Pinkett, from my account, never was one of those moms, oh, that's just the mom. Like, I'm serious. Yeah, she had kids, but I was like, that's motherfucking Jada Pinkett and Will and them kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never was like, oh, it's the mom and the dad and the kids. No, I never felt that way about Jada Pinkett Smith. However, when I do see the family unit for Steph Curry and Ayesha Curry, I do feel that way, and I feel very bad because obviously that's something that affects her. That's obvious that she would like to change that, and I think it's possible for her to change this herself. I think if she were to get out of this funk, because it's probably a phase right now where she's feeling the way she's feeling, and maybe she was insecure about it now or before, but now she's not, because again, these things were taped a while ago. I mean, she's not dwelling on it, I'm sure. She's got kids at the house, so she doesn't have time to constantly be worried about is she sexy or not. But at the same time, I can understand where she's coming from. I can definitely understand where she's coming from. I can understand exactly, why she feels the way she feels. So that was my main thing. My main thing was Jada literally has said the same thing and understood exactly where she was coming from, but people acting like she's shitting on Steph. My second thing is when she made the comments, I literally thought about this one episode of Martin. And it tripped me out because niggas love Martin. Okay, y'all love Martin, so y'all should remember this episode. And so tell me why it's okay for Martin but not okay for Ayesha Curry. So, and Ayesha Curry didn't even do what Martin did. So this episode of Martin, it was shortly after he and Gina got married, and then he Cole and Tommy took their dumb asses to the gym, okay? And they was working out and stuff, and all of the girls was all over Tommy and Cole, and then they was kind of like repelled, but Martin was repelling chicks, you know what I'm saying, basically, because he had his wedding ring on. So one day he decided, oh, well, let me take my ring off, let me see if I still got it. And when he took the ring off, the girls flocked so hard. They flocked, they did all of these things. But again, this was back when women were not interested in dating married men because they were looking directly for that ring. And as soon as they saw the ring, they were like, oh, fuck this. You're not available. And we out. But nowadays, these hoes out here are different, So, there's that. I mean, I guess there's always been scallywags that have been dating other people's husbands. And listen, I'm not perfect either. I mean, in my youth, I might have messed around with someone's boyfriend or husband. Listen, that's not the point. That's not what we're talking about here. Okay? What we're talking about is the fact that, he wanted to see if he still had it. Now, obviously, this is a sitcom, so things turned out crazy. So obviously he loses the ring, comes home, doesn't want to tell Gina, oh, I took the ring off to see if I still had it. So then he tries to find a duplicate ring. Okay, now he's got 2 rings. Okay, he's wearing a ring. Gina's doing laundry, finds the ring. Okay, so how come you have a ring? So now the whole dumb, stupid, ignorant story has to come out because you got 2 wedding rings now, you big idiot. Instead of just saying, babe, I misplaced my ring at the gym. You know what I'm saying? So, as soon as she said what she said, I immediately thought about that. I was like, well, damn, Martin did the same shit in an episode of Martin where he doesn't need all of that validation from the women, but it feels amazing. And I think that's what a lot of men are missing, specifically Charlamagne. You guys don't even understand how it is to be a woman. And I'll tell you this straight up. So, I will go at least 6 months, I feel, without male attention. Anyone trying to holler in the streets, anyone smiling at me, oh, you look nice, looking you up and down, anything that constitutes attention from males that you would deem acceptable, okay? I go long stretches, and when I tell you that when it happens, while you're not looking for it, you're not feeding other people to get that back. But when you get it, you like, oh shit, I must look good today. And then you have it totally boosts your confidence when you get that type of feedback back. I mean, I really don't care if Charlamagne or any other man or woman understands this. It has happened to me, and I don't think of myself as someone who needs constant validation from outside sources. So, I think everybody who's saying that can just go ahead and suck a dick and just leave Ayesha Curry alone. She said nothing wrong. The only thing she did wrong was sharing it out here in these streets with, you fuckers. I saw a really awesome quote the other day that said that Ayesha Curry, her only flaw in the situation was sharing her heart in a heartless world. And I feel like it's a bit extreme, but it's true. It's true. So there's that. So I'm okay with Ayesha saying what she said. I don't have no problems with it. I don't think that she should feel lucky to have a Steph. I think Steph should be very lucky to have her because she seems really great. really phenomenal, really classy, smart, educated. She's beautiful. She's had your 3 children. She takes care of those kids. She takes care of the household. She has her cooking show. She has her pot line. You know what I'm saying? Like, she isn't just Steph Curry's wife. So shout out to Ayesha Curry. She's still one of my favorite basketball wives. I love her. I don't care what y'all say. I don't give a damn what y'all got to say. And lastly, of course, Steph Curry actually yesterday, or maybe it was today, I think it was yesterday, he basically put on like his Instagram stories a nice little quote, a little message to her, and it's a picture of them, and it's a nice little message to her. If I can find it really quick, I'll go ahead and read it to you, because I thought it was dope. I was like, well, good. I'm so glad that he's not at the house feeling some kind of way, because you never really know what's going on, because you just never know what's going on. And I love Steph Curry, and I wouldn't want to think that he was in a situation where he was verbally or emotionally abusive toward her, which I'm sure he's not. But it really helped with him just coming out and saying what he said, honestly. And I can't even find it now, which is, you know how the shade room is. It's ridiculous. You can't even find stuff that you really want to find. It's ridiculous. Well, I'm not going to keep looking for it. So basically, Steph came through with the support. He was just like, you know what, you were brave for even saying what you said. You knew that it was going to, bring you some issues. You handled the backlash perfect. Saying keep being you, keep speaking your truth, all of these things. And I couldn't be happier, because I feel like that's all she needed. She needed that kind of love and support. So I just, shout out to Steph for being great as usual. That's all I gotta say. Okay, found it. It took me 100 times, 100 clicks and scrolls and swipes, but I found it. It says, proud of you for being authentic and putting yourself out there, not being afraid of the potential bullshit and nonsense that could and did come at you. Way more positive than negative with all of this. Keep being you. I love you. So shout out to Steph Curry for saying, you know what, y'all are out here dragging my woman down, but I 100% am good with what she said and how she chooses to express herself. And I would like to think that they've actually already dealt with this issue, and it's a non-issue at this point. And that's kind of how life is. It's not always going to be an insecurity of yours. Sometimes you get a chance to do the work and move ahead and move on with your life. So that's dope. So that's all I have to say about Ayesha Curry. I'm going to continue on in Curry news, okay? This is a short tidbit. Steph Curry's brother, Seth, okay? He plays for the Trail Blazers. And he... I'm adding this because I thought it was funny. I was prepping for the show and this story came on, so I was like, let me write that down because that's hilarious. Anyway, they were playing last night. His guy falls down dramatically into another player's legs area. Steph's going down to pick the fella up. The opposing player who's his player fell into, he's got an attitude or something. He's trying to get down there and be like, hey man, you ran into my legs or something. I don't know what he was trying to say, but Seth came up and put his hand on him, wiped his hand away, oh, I'm about to get my dude up, and then the guy pushes Seth, you know what I'm saying? Wait a minute. Then they get into a squabble, and there's that, right? At the end of the game, at the press conference, Seth Curry was like, yeah, they got a lot of sassy players over there. I said, who says sassy? Did you call us grown men sassy? I said, this is going to get real ridiculous. I can't wait for that game on Saturday. You call them people sassy. Sassy? Oh my God. But anyway, that's Steph Curry for you. So, my boy Steph, in more important news and in more serious tones here. So let's get it serious here. Okay? Steph Curry is my favorite player in basketball right now. Okay? He became my favorite player once Kobe Bryant, my favorite player, retired. I have 2 jerseys. 2. One is Kobe Bean Bryant's, the LA Lakers. And the other one is Steph Curry, Golden State. Alright. So obviously you guys know, because I've kind of been talking about it over the past several episodes or so, the playoffs are here. The Lakers are not here because we are terrible, and I'll be getting to that, to Laker Nation, in just a little bit, because it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of shit going on over there in Tinseltown. We'll talk about it later. But Steph has been playing like bullshit. I mean, he hasn't been making his shots. I mean, he's in some kind of slump. Now, in one of the games, I think it was game 1, he did dislocate his finger, his middle finger on one of his hands. He dislocated it. Yeah, the finger was going another way. It was. Alright? I'm sorry, but it was. Okay? So they had to tape it up. They had to just, readjust it, pop it back in, basically, tape it up, maybe shoot it up, and then come on, let's go. Well, I don't know if this has been affecting him. I don't know if he's got other ailments. I don't know if he's got issues at the house because, the Ayesha thing. I don't know what's going on, but this nigga cannot make a shot. Now, KD went down in the last game 2 days ago in the third quarter, and him and Clay really showed up and stepped up and played like they played before KD was even on the team. So y'all can do it. Y'all can do it. I just asked that Steph Curry go ahead and say his prayers like he does every time before the games. You know what I'm saying? Just say the prayers and believe the things, and then just do your thing, because I don't understand what's going on. So here's the deal. Golden State's up 3-2 on Houston. They're in Houston today, or tonight, to play Game 6. And I don't know that they're going to win this. Game 7 will undoubtedly be on Sunday, in Golden State, or in the Oracle, which is where Golden State plays their games, out there in Oakland. So yeah, I really hope that Golden State can close out the game tonight. I just don't see it happening, honestly. Unless they come out with a fervor that I haven't quite seen yet this playoff run. And I don't really see how they do that without a Kevin Durant. But you never know what's in store. So I'll just watch it and I'll see, if they're able to keep it together. Something tells me it's going to be an early night for me. I'm going to be pissed off. But we'll see. We'll see. But just, Steph, get it together. Just get it together. Okay? Get it together. Get it together. I'm going to go back because I definitely started in the middle of my notes. So the first thing on my list was definitely the Met Gala ball. You guys, celebrities. So I don't think celebrities are listening. Maybe they are. But if so, you guys really showed out. And if not, then those guys really showed out. And the theme was camp. And camp basically is anything that's extremely over the top. I can't even express to you the full out meaning of it, because it's just extravagance. It's like an extravaganza. If you've ever watched RuPaul's Drag Race, you'll understand camp. Number one, I think Lena Waithe made the statement on the back of her blazer, but camp is definitely a drag queen term, and so that's kind of where this whole thing comes from. So you had lots of interesting outfits. I think one of my favorite outfits was the Janelle Monáe outfit, where she was kind of like a face, and the eye was like her breast, and I think they said the eye even blinked, but I never saw the eye blink. I just saw it. So that's dope. I enjoyed Cardi B's look. I really did. It looked like it looked like one of those big red couches that you would see in like a funeral home or something. I don't know. It was dope. The train was huge. It was beautiful. Fantastic. Trying to think. Zendaya, she did a great thing where she did like a bibbity bobbity situation. I guess the dressmaker came out like the fairy godmother and hit the bippity boppity boo, and then the dress actually lit up from the bottom up, which was pretty dope. I mean, shit, I'm a Disney kid. I grew up in the fucking 80s and 90s. I watched tons of fucking Disney, so that was up my alley right there. I'm not a Zendaya fan per se, but you know, she alright. But yeah, I mean, so it was a lot of looks, a lot of things. I saw a lot of people that was styled by Dapper Dan. And here's the thing. I guess I'm just confused, and y'all just gonna have to help me. I thought we were still boycotting and banning and Gucci. I thought that was still a thing. So while Dapper Dan is a legend, Dapper Dan is our legend. I mean, what the fuck are we doing? Are we boycotting Gucci or not? Like, I saw Regina, damn, what is her name? The chick from Big Little. Was it Regina? Not Regina Bell, not Regina King, Regina Hall. Regina Hall had on a Gucci dress, and because it was styled by Dapper Dan, we were supposed to be good with it. Amari Hardwick came out with a Gucci Dapper Dan inspiration. I can't remember who else that was. It was another guy, another man, with it. So I mean, I guess my main issue is I'm with us supporting Dapper Dan, but I feel like Dapper Dan had a responsibility to try to distance himself from Gucci as best as he possibly could without damaging that bridge that he has. You don't want to burn that bridge with Gucci, because again, those of you who don't know who Dapper Dan is obviously a clothing designer. He did all of these designs back in the 90s and stuff, and he actually was the one that got all the rappers wearing Gucci and all of these big names, because they weren't doing that. But Dapper Dan was cool. He was from Harlem, and everybody wanted him to style them. So he came up with these looks, and then Gucci stole his looks and wouldn't give him credit. And then it basically, I guess maybe 5 years ago or so, Gucci finally made good on what they had done over decades of bullshit with Dapper Dan, and they gave Dapper Dan not only a job at Gucci, but his own line within the Gucci imprint. So it was super dope that Dapper Dan got that, and I was proud of him. I still am. But, you know, damn, what are we gonna do here? You want to just pick your stuff up and design your own stuff and don't worry about it being Gucci? Because I believe that it will still sell just fine. That's just the way I feel about it. So I was concerned and confused about that. I did notice that a lot of different people had something to say about that. Oh, we're still fucking, we're still over Gucci, just still fuck Gucci, this, that, and the other. So I'm not real sure who else was a part of this whole thing. My son, who is a rapper and activist in New York, he had a post/song or freestyle about this, and it was directed at Snoop. So I didn't see where Snoop had Gucci on, but then again, I don't follow everything about Snoop, so I'm not sure what the issue is. So I will try to follow up on that later. But yeah, guys, I was confused about that. I was really confused about that. Some people dressed kind of like they were going to prom, right? Not the theme. Some people were very extravagant and over the top. I was excited to see the drag queens that showed up at the Met Gala ball. But it wasn't a bunch of them, but I follow them on Instagram, so I was able to see some of those images, because you'll never see those images on, like, the Shade Room or any other, Hollywood gossip rag that you might follow, right? So, I think the biggest showstopper was Billy Porter. That's the fella from Pose. It's a FX show about drag queens. And the drag lifestyle, I think, of the 80s and 90s. Which I actually need to go ahead and start so that I can be on point for the second season to start, because they did just put that out on Netflix. So the first season is there. I need to go ahead and get into it, because I caught like one episode one time by accident, and I was like, what is this? I was like, what is this? And so I was really happy with it. So I just have to check it out and just get up on it. But Billy Porter, he's been pretty extravagant for the past couple of red carpets. All right, I think the Grammys, he came through in a dress. Okay, or Oscars. I'm not real sure which one it was, but he's gender bending, and that's what he's doing. So it was an interesting look, and I appreciated it truly. Let me see what else I got on here. I'll be skipping around today. Okay, I want to talk news stuff. Then I want to get into the Us review. I actually did see Us finally, y'all. Listen, I'll get into it in a minute. Quote of the day, and I'm starting to try new shit, so y'all let me know if y'all like the shit. Quote of the day is, or of the week rather, is life is like a sandwich. No matter which way you flip it, the bread always comes first. Roll them. Okay? Roll them. I like that. Alright, so let's do news. Maleah, I think it's Maleah actually, Davis. Young lady, she's 4 years old. She's missing. This story is so stupid, so out of control. You guys aren't going to understand it. I'm not going to be able to articulate it properly because it's so flawed. So, about 4 days ago or so, apparently, Maleah was with her stepfather and her brother in a car, and apparently he was driving, and then he pulled over to help somebody. I don't know. He got hit in the head tremendously, like lots of blood. It's a horrible gash, horrible scar actually. And then he said he woke up 21 hours later, and he said that he had the son was in his possession, but he noticed that Maleah was gone. Okay? He said that he was in and out of consciousness. However, he said that 2 or 3 Mexican men or Hispanic men took Maleah. Okay? That's the story. Now, apparently yesterday there was a bit of a bombshell dropped because Maleah's mother, she let out that she believed that the stepfather was molesting Maleah. She believed that the stepfather had something to do with it. All of these things. She doesn't believe the story. All of these things then came out. So what they did was they checked some surveillance, around different areas, and they found the car that was the family car that was stolen. So again, now me even saying this, I'm missing pieces of the story because I was under the impression that the man was asleep, unconscious in the car. So how are you in the car, but now a car has been found? So whatever. So let me just go ahead and report it as I see it. So basically, they found the family car that they thought, okay, if we find the car, we'll find Maleah. They found the car in an abandoned parking lot, no Maleah. They checked surveillance around the area, and they found the stepfather on surveillance camera carrying like a basket, like a laundry basket. It looked like it had some plastic bags up in there and allegedly some bleach. I did not see the bleach, but they say that he had bleach, so there's that. So I mean, who in the fuck really knows what's going on here? Because it sounds crazy. The story does definitely not add up. The stepdaddy sounds more and more like he's involved than anyone would probably like. And we don't have any answers. And here it is multiple days later. I want to say, shoot, I found out about this little baby probably Monday or Tuesday. So here we are 4 or 5 days later, and she's still missing. So yeah. This is just... it's a troublesome thing. I'm going to keep watching it, and I pray they find her okay, but, the likelihood of finding her alive is very low at this point, as we all know. I think we all watch enough Criminal Minds, NCIS, CSI, the news to know that, the life expectancy once you hit a certain amount of hours goes down drastically, So we're going to pray for little Maleah Davis. Georgia passed. The Georgia governor signed, the governor that stole the election from Stacey Abrams a couple of months back. Yeah, he just signed the heartbeat bill basically stating that once the baby is 6 weeks old, you are unable to have an abortion. You know, a lot of women understand that this is bullshit, and men should too. This is dumb. You don't even know you're pregnant by 6 weeks once you're 6 weeks. So that is equivalent to being 2 weeks late with your period. That's all 6 weeks. And a lot of times, because men don't know this, and specifically the stupid ass man who decided to sign this bill doesn't know this, a lot of times our periods are late just for no reason. For no reason. They're stress, or, you know, you got something going on in your body. Your pH balance could be off. I mean, there's so many things that could cause your period to be late. So a lot of women don't even pay attention when their period is late. It's only when it's late, like 2 months late, like you're like, wait a minute, I ain't had my period, and when's the last time I had my, wait a good goddamn minute now. You see what I'm saying? So, it's just very frustrating. It's extremely frustrating that these men are up here fucking this up, okay? And it's more frustrating that these women are out here allowing this to be fucked up. It's frustrating because I watched his fucking prick ass sign the thing, and then he had like 3, 4, 5 women, you know, behind him while he's signing this thing, and they're up here grinning and skinning, and a friend of mine was like, well, you know, that's a photo op. I don't give a fuck. You say you don't want to do the photo op. You say, you know what? No, I don't agree with this. No, I don't care what you allegedly are trying to pay me so that you have women behind you. See, these women appreciate it. How come all women won't appreciate it? It's just like a white person saying, see, I have a black friend. What do you mean? I'm not racist. You know what I'm saying? I got this one black person over here that I, you know, talk to on a regular basis. Like, man, get that shit out of here. Get it out of here. Ugh. I'm just increasingly frustrated by the people who make the laws, okay? Because you people don't give a fuck about the people. You just care about your bottom line. You care about your dollars, which is a great segue into the essential oil deal. So I have a good friend, Jamila Miller. She does her podcast, That Girl Named Boom. She shared this article on Facebook a few weeks back about how the FDA is going to ban these essential oils. So what I did was I didn't go back to the article itself on Facebook, Jamila, sorry. I just did a quick Google search, and I found something a little different, and it's probably the same information, but I think I internalized it differently when I first read the post. But I found something different, but it all equals the same exact thing, because the FDA is warning these essential oil manufacturers to stop telling people that they can replace medicines with these essential oils, which again goes right back to what the main point was that Jamila made in regards to people doing this, you know, and why they don't want this to happen anymore. And it's mainly because, you know, Big Pharma has a problem with that. What do you mean you have these essential oils that are manufactured from the earth that can heal you? No. You need to go buy my aspirin that's going to tear up your stomach and eat out your stomach lining. No, you need to go get my antibiotics that's going to, you know, build you up, back you up. You're not going to be able to use the bathroom. You're going to have, you know, give you a yeast infection, all of these things. You know, so obviously Big Pharma would not appreciate this, and obviously Big Pharma and FDA, they all come in here with the shenanigans. You know, they all have the same goal. So it's not a straight up ban, but what they are saying is that they are going to, you know, they issue these warnings ever since 2017. I was not aware of this, to these different essential oils companies. So basically, this is what they're talking about. I found a nice little website. It's like a Patheos website that, you know, a lot of like homeopathic people probably go to. And like there's several things here. Okay, medicine cabinet makeover. Oils to replace medicines or medications in your home. And I'm going to go in deep into this, and then I'm going to tell you guys some of the things that they're trying to ban and tell you what the actual, you know, results of these things are, what they allegedly, okay, cure. Okay, so there's There's Panaway, there's Purification, there's P and C, there's lemon oils, there's peppermint oil, Valor, frankincense, Joy, Thieves, lavender. Okay. Apparently the lemon helps with the acne, bunions, immunity, varicose veins, oily skin. It's an alkalizer, which is big. Alkalizer. Okay. I.e. do some research on Dr. Sebi. Panaway helps with the sciatica, bruising, cramps, arthritis, sore muscles, inflammation, which also, you know, what turmeric does too, right? So lots of oils, lots of herbs that can help with this too. Purification helps with odors, flu, sore throat, blisters, purifies, you know, your body, which I probably could use that right now. And even as a bug spray. Frankincense is used to, you know, to help with concentration and depression and respiratory issues, wrinkles, anxiety, warts. Like, okay, so y'all see now why they want to go ahead and ban some of these things, and why people are saying, oh, I don't need to go to the doctor. Let me do this. You see what I'm saying? And then I'll be good to go. There's oils for weight loss and cellulite. High blood pressure oils. 9 essential oils used for high blood pressure. That's lemon balm, rose oil, lavender, chamomile, hibiscus, rosewood, basil, sage oils. All of these things. There's diabetes oils that, you know, you can kind of use to kind of combat your diabetes. Like, there's a total breakdown. Oils for autism, oils for breast cancer, okay, tumors, you see? So, opioid replacements. So, here's the deal. Hyperthyroidism, wow. So that's the deal, man. So, all of these, there's so many companies that say, oh, we can create this, we can do this, you can use this, as opposed to going to the doctor and getting these meds. The FDA is, the way they position it in this article is, oh, well, we just want them to stop telling them to replace these medicines and not giving them the full disclosure of what these essential oils can, you know, what the side effects are. You know, this is not a end all be all, you know, cure for cancer kind of thing. You know, that's what they're trying to mask this as. But realistically speaking, y'all just don't want to cut into Big Pharma's pocket, and because of, and you guys can, you know, stay with me if you want, but because Nipsey has just been murdered, maybe, what was that, a month ago now? That was at the end of March, right? So a month ago now, maybe a month and a half at this point, he was murdered. He had a song and talked about Dr. Sebi. Lots of people had a conspiracy theory. Oh, you know, because he's doing the documentary about Dr. Sebi, this is why this all happened. Regardless of how you feel, that word got out. People started doing research on Dr. Sebi. People started looking into an alkaline diet. People started doing all of this stuff, you know, to see, okay, so how can I put better things in my body so that I don't have to deal with the issues that my mom and my dad and my granny and my aunties are dealing with right now. I can try right now to suppress that. How can I do it, you know? So that's the deal with the essential oils. I will make this link available for anyone that wants it. I can make the link available on social media somewhere, somehow. Or you can just DM me on the Mill Speaks page and I'll just send it to you. That way you can do your own research and see what's what. But thank you, Jamila, for that information, because that's important. And like I was telling Carrie, a friend of mine, you know, we use tons of these essential oils. Like I was telling her, as I was telling her about it, I was looking at 4 things of oil that I use on a regular basis on my scalp. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that what jojoba or jojoba, okay, peppermint, coconut oil, tea tree oil. You know, all of these oils are in danger, especially tea tree oil. These things are in danger, and I just don't understand it. So it sounds like I just need to stock up on all these oils until, you know, before they before they completely like shut it down, and that could be the plug. All right, y'all. All right, but you didn't hear that here. Okay. Anywho, so yeah, that's what I got for news. So we're done with news. So alright, so here's the deal. Alright, so I watched I watched Us. In full disclosure, I watched Us not in the movie theater. I pulled it up on the Fire Stick and watched it there. It showed up. It was very dark, but I was able to make out the majority of the movie. I was able to take in all of the points of the movie. However, I still feel like I definitely need to see it in its realest capacity. So in the movie theater. So if I can get out, I will do that. But otherwise, let's just go ahead and get the fuck into it. I mean, we're 50 minutes in, and I'm pretty sure this is going to take me a while to get through. Because there's so many things, so many elements, so much, okay, to discuss here and to unpack. So my first feelings about Us was that it was amazing. From every angle that a movie can be amazing, it was amazing. It was visually appealing. The script was fantastic. The acting was superb. The audio was most important, and I feel like I touched on this before, y'all, on a previous episode about how audio is so important to a film and TV. Like, it is so important, and this movie does not disappoint with the audio. When I'm telling you these people, because again, alright, so let me just go through the movie. Tons of spoilers right now, so cut it off if you haven't seen it, or cut it off if you care about not being spoiled. Even though the movie did come out almost 2 months ago, hopefully you guys have seen it somehow, some way, and hopefully if you're listening now, it's because you don't care about the spoils, it being spoiled. Okay? Wow. So the movie is about this family who goes on a summer trip to their beach house in Santa Monica, or Santa Cruz. Is it Santa Monica? Santa Monica Pier. This is where the young lady is from. She's from this area, and she grew up here, and you know, they grew up there, and I guess they went there on a regular basis. So the movie starts off back in 1986 when young Adelaide was just sitting there watching TV. Lots of old school video or commercials was on, man. The biggest one was the Hands Across America. I don't know if you guys remember that. That's when, like, you know, you paid whatever you paid to be a part of this, like, human link, to basically hold hands with people and say, hey, we're all one. You know, you're my brother, you're my sister. You know, it was really nice sentiment, I guess. I was 3 when this happened, so I was not a part of it. Okay? So that movie, it starts off that way. Then they go into them basically going out one night to the carnival. Mom and Dad's kind of bickering back and forth. Dad's kind of fun. He's kind of fun. Mom's like always stressed, like, well, you gotta watch her, you gotta do this. You know, a regular mom. Dad's the regular fun dad. Oh, it's gonna be alright. Yeah. You know, that kind of thing. And she's just a normal kid. She's a normal kid. Well, she goes wandering off like kids normally do into this little fun house with mirrors and shit, which I am gonna tell you right now, I would have never gone in here, not by myself, not on duty. Okay, so she goes into the fun house. She's nervous. She can't get out. She's lost, and then she's lost, and then she finds her doppelganger. Her doppelganger, she sees in the mirror. It's not like she's looking in the mirror at herself. Herself is like turned around too. You see, and then, you know, her image attacks her. Okay, and then it cuts. And then we flash back to current times. Okay, so in current times, Lupita is now a grown woman. Adelaide is a grown woman. Excuse me. She has 2 children of her own, and she's married to her husband, Gabe. Okay, Gabe is played by Winston Duke. He is my man M'Baku from Black Panther. These are 2 totally different roles, and I love M'Baku. I hated Gabe. And I didn't hate Gabe because Gabe was whack. I hated Gabe because he was so whack. Okay? So, it is what it is. Winston Duke actually discussed this on the Breakfast Club when the movie came out, or right before the movie came out, about how his role was a different role. Like, you look at a big black man, because, I mean, he's got to be, 6'5", okay? A cool 200, maybe close to almost 300 pounds. He's a big man. He's a big man, okay? And when you see that motherfucking movie, when you see him lay back on that bed, baby, with them thighs, whew, I'm liking Baku, baby. That's my kind of man. That's a man's man right there, baby. Anyway, but Gabe is your typical privileged black man, and I know that might sound crazy, but this whole family is privileged. The whole family is privileged. This is a summer home. They come here every summer. Like, this kind of thing. This isn't normal behaviors that the person, like, if you're watching it and you'd be like, oh wait, this is the black family and they have a vacation, got a boat, and they come here every week. Is that normal? A black family or a black person would say that shit ain't normal, dog. That might be normal in like white people's worlds, and then it's not normal for all of them, honestly. So it was an interesting take just from that perspective. Okay, so they get to the house and everything. A few things happen in the movie that I was just like, what? Before they even, got to the beach and stuff. Like, they're in the car and Lupita's like trying to get the little boy to get on beat to the I Got 5 on It song that I told y'all about in the movies episode. And they're both off. Like, extremely off the beat. Both of them. But they are synchronized. Okay? So, stick a pin in that. Stick a pin in that, and we'll come back to that in a second. So, Lupita is in a place where she feels like something is after her. She feels a cloud over her. Something ain't quite right is really what she's feeling right now. And it's because she knows that she had this experience when she was a kid in the fun house with the doppelganger and all of this stuff, and she's getting concerned. Well, Gabe is not aware of this kind of thing, and he wants to push to go to the beach. He's like, we're right here on the beach, we should go to the beach, da 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 da. He eventually gets on her nerves so hard, and they eventually all go to the beach. So they have a nice little beach vacation, have a little beach trip, right? The kid, her son is just straight weird, and I'm just gonna say it like that. Her son is just weird, okay? He was building like tunnels. Most kids build sand castles on beaches. He was building tunnels on the beach. You know what I'm saying? And that is important because the doppelgangers, or the tethered, actually live in these tunnels underground. But we're not there yet. So, my man goes off wandering just like young Adelaide does in the beginning of the movie. And right in front of the place where Adelaide went into to find her doppelganger, he was just kind of wandering around there, and then he saw this man standing there, bloodied, with scissors. And now that I have seen the movie, and now that I understand what has happened, I totally get why he was standing there like that, like a maniac. Because he was standing there with his arms out, he was bloody, and it was like, what are you doing? But I get it now. He was waiting on the other tethered to come through, to kill their people, and to join hands. I get it now. Wow, it just clicked. But anyway, so that's what happened. He found that guy, he was tethered. He found that guy, he was bloody, he had the scissors and everything. Okay, cool. Alright, camera cuts, and Lupita's like, where is he? Where's Jason? And then she starts spazzing the fuck out. Why? Because she is well aware of what's happening on the beach. Okay? So, they find him, they rush home, it's a stressful situation, all of that happens, right? Bruh. So that evening, they're all trying to retire to bed. little kid. I think all of y'all have seen the previews. Little kid says there's a family in the driveway. First of all, you're too calm. All right. Second, this is when your survival instincts kind of get popping, and all your inner start to get stressed, because you got this family outside the house. Now Lupita's like, we need to call the police, right? We need to call the police. Gabe's like, are you serious? You can't call the police. We're gonna call the police. Police? Are you serious? Now this is a black person reaction. Okay, so no matter how privileged my guy is, or both this whole family is, he is well aware that if you call the police, we could very much have a situation here, and we don't need another situation because we already got this family in our driveway. We don't have a clue what they want, so we don't need to involve the police, and then they could possibly, end up hurt, injured, or killed by the police given their circumstance. So he was on something, we ain't calling the police, call the police. So I totally was on board with him, but at the same time, knowing the situation, she understood it's time for the police. Okay, it's time for the police. All right. So she called the cops and everything. He goes out here and he tries to have his nice little calm conversation. Hey guys, get off the property. We're trying to take it down. Can I help you? They don't say anything, obviously. They just standing there, holding hands, looking crazy, and then he goes back into the house and he's like, all right, call the police. And I thought that was so dope too. All right, just go ahead and dial 911 now, because they up here tripping. And so she was like, I already called them. They won't be here for another 14 minutes. So they started tripping. So then that's when he decides, let me get this bat. Let me go out here and let me do this, right? So he goes out here with his pretend gangster, all right, with this bat. And if you want to get crazy, we can get crazy, First of all, I didn't believe him, not 1 second. He got a Howard sweatshirt on. I don't believe you, okay? I don't believe your collegiate ass, okay? But it just, as soon as that happened, Miss Lupita's tethered, aka Red. She does a hand motion, and the entire family disperses, basically to attack the house. Okay? So now we're in ultimate survival mode. Everybody's trying to close the doors, close the windows, get the back door right, do this, do that, yada yada yada, and it's a struggle, right? But eventually the family gets inside the house, and they are in front of the other family, and they are now dealing with what they see. Now, there's so many things to unpack here. I mean, at this point, we get to finally hear Red. We get to hear the story. We get to hear Red. Red is telling the story. Red is Lupita's tethered, Lupita's doppelganger. Red is telling the story of a little girl who had everything and another little girl who had nothing. While this little girl got, pretty Christmas gifts, this other little girl got sharp, toys to play with, and everything was cold. This little girl grew up and married the man of her dreams. I couldn't marry the man of my dreams. I had to marry this man, because this man was the tethered of her husband. So that's why I had to marry him. We had 2 children. She had a beautiful baby girl. I had a monster. Okay? She had a son, a second child, and it was a son, and it had a C-section. It was a difficult pregnancy, and she had a C-section, and basically she's like, I had to do my C-section myself. Okay? Like, straight up. So it was like so intense, and it was just amazing to sit there and watch. And her voice, and the reason why I said the audio was amazing, her voice was so gnarled, it was so toxic, it was so crazy. I was like, what is that out of your throat? It sounded like a frog croaking or something like that. It was an extreme voice, and one could only surmise that the reason the voice was like this is because obviously she lived her life up underneath ground, and maybe coming up above air, above ground, this air is different. Also, there's a lot of pain in that throat, in that voice. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of bitterness in the throat too. So it's a lot. It's heavy on a lot of levels. Um, so then there's the onslaught. The husband's already hurt. The tethered husband had already bust his leg with the bat that he threatened the people with. Okay, so he's already done. The little girl, her daughter, who's like a teenager, she's a track star, and I kid you not, I was most terrified when Red told her. She was like, "Little girl, run!" And I was like, "Oh shit!" I said, "You better go!" I said, "You better go!" And her tethered, the little girl's tethered is also a track star. She's very fast because, again, every characteristic that the above ground person has, their tethered has too. So let me tell you, this little bitch was no joke. Okay, from both levels, the little girl was amazing, truly amazing. She was great as her own character. She was fantastic as her tethered character. Her tethered character was amazing. Like, I was actually really scared of her. I wasn't scared of the rest of them. I mean, Winston Duke, you were a little afraid of, only because he's just a biggin, and he didn't talk, and he was aggressive, and he didn't understand anything because of his state. But that little girl's tethered, I'm more scared of that little girl's tethered than anybody else in the movie, straight up. So, so the little girl's tethered gives her a nice little start, and like a nice little start. She sat there, she let her run, she did her neck, broke her neck off or whatever, stretching her neck, trying to get loose. Then she took off to go get the girl. So, we don't see any of that happening because obviously, she doesn't really catch her. She never catches her, which is good. So, let's see, where am I at now? The little boy's tethered. They both go into the closet to play. And the closet's important because the little boy had already been locked in the closet earlier in the movie when his sister kicked the little doorstop out of there, and so he was locked in the closet and he was stressed. And then she was like, "Didn't that happen last year?" And all kind of stuff. So that's also more foreshadowing to let us know that something just ain't right about this little boy either. But whatever, right? So basically at this point, all of the different families are dispersed throughout the area, either the house or the area, because Gabe's tethered, the husband, his tether took him to the boat. I guess he put him in a bag. I guess he was gonna throw his ass overboard. Okay, I guess Gabe eventually gets a chance to get out of the boat, and then he kills his tethered. He kills his tethered. He gets out the boat, and he makes it back home to the family, so that when they finally break out of the house, they have someplace to run to. Okay, that is to the boat, of course. Wow, it's just so crazy. And Red / Lupita, they're the only ones left in the house, outside of the two little boys. They're the ones left in the house, and Lupita's still talking to her. What do you want? And this is one of my favorite parts of the movie, because you have these tight, up close images of Lupita as both Red and Adelaide, and she's so flawless. Her fear from Adelaide's face with the tear, which was very reminiscent of Get Out's tears, the fella's tears from Get Out when he was, completely under. So that was I think that's a Jordan Peele thing. So from that face, but then when you go to the other side, to Red's maniacal face, she's like looking at her like interested, like she's like a test buddy, like, okay, so what's up? That kind of thing. It was such a heavy moment for me. I just can't even. Okay? And so, she has, a little bit to say or whatever, but while this is happening, she was getting ready to try to kill her. She's getting ready to try to kill her or whatever. She puts her face down on this table, which is a mirror, and I thought it was so dope that she put her face down on the mirror, and then it broke, and it was cracking, and then Lupita's like red came down on her, so it's like now we see 4 Lupitas. Listen, it was so many different levels to this thing. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be scared. It's really not about that. I feel like y'all have to get past some of that anxiety stuff, like, oh, I'm just stressed, it's the suspense stuff. No, man, no. You have got to experience this, and the only way that you can is you have to confront the issue. You have to deal with the issue, and maybe that is some sort of issue that's even within you that you don't even want to deal with. Maybe your anxiety level is high for some reason, and you need to work on that, and then maybe other things won't be so anxious for you. I don't know what the situation is. I'm trying to, do a little analysis on y'all, those of you who don't want to see the movie. I loved it tremendously. So at that point now, we've got, while Lupita and Lupita are fighting, okay, on the table here, the little boy, the main little boy, I'm going to say tethered when I mean the doppelgangers, and I'm going to just talk about the regular people as regular people, just so that we're clear. So the little boy now is in the closet with his tethered, and he realizes that the tethered does every single thing that he does. He can control the little boy. The little boy learns that he can control the tethered. Some of the tethered know they can control their people, but not all of them know that. Only Red knows that. So yeah, it was just a trip. It was a trip. So they all get themselves out of harm's way, out of the house. They make it out of the house into the boat to get over here to the white family's house. Okay, they're friends. Okay, well, while they're trying to get there, the white family's tethered actually comes in the house and takes them out so efficiently. I've never seen kills more efficient. I said, my God, y'all didn't even issue no kind of there was no fight or anything. There was no struggle. Y'all just let them come in here and kill ya. So by the time they get there, they realize that these people are not who they are, who they say they are, or who they appear to be. That's really what it is. And so now the fight has to continue. Now we got to fight the white people. Okay, the white tethered, right? So Lupita, the little boy, and the little girl end up taking out the whole family, with the exception of the dad. The dad, Lupita's husband, takes out the white dad's tethered. There's so many different levels of awesome in this scene, though. Like the white lady, before she was completely murdered by her tethered family, she was talking to Alexa, and she's like, Alexa, call the police. And Alexa plays, okay, playing now, fuck the police. And it was just so crazy. And I was like, oh my God. So, yeah, so that happened. So the little girl, she killed the two twins, the twin daughters. The little boy killed the mother, because the mother was definitely about to kill Lupita. And then the dad killed the dad, of course. So they think that one of the twins is dead. Lupita has to go in here to get the car keys. They're all about to dip out the house, get into the car. They're like, where are the car keys? She goes back in here to get the car keys, realizes that one of the bodies is gone. Okay, and now she realizes, okay, I've got to be on the lookout. She finds the car keys, but before she can get out, obviously, before she can get out, obviously the girl comes, attacks her. There's a fight. There's a struggle. Lupita finds the scissors that they all have. Finds the scissors, kills her in the most gruesome way, like with the heavy breathing, stabbing her. She's dead. The little boy walks in on her doing this, and they realize, okay, there's a danger here. Let's go ahead and go to the car. Let's go. Everything was cool. They got to the car. The little girl's sitting in the car. She's like, I'm driving. Dad's legs jacked up. I got more kills than everybody in the family. I'm going to drive. And Lupita's like, no, you don't, because I just killed one of the twins. So, blah, 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 right? Whatever. Cool. So basically, they're about to argue about who's driving, and then they look down the driveway and they see the little girl's tethered. Because, see, the little girl got away from her tethered because while her tether was trying to catch her, trying to kill her, she was standing up on a car, and some white man comes out and he's like, "Hey, get off my car! Get off my car!" You see? And so that was a situation. So she definitely had to take him out, and while she was taking him out, then the little girl ran back to the house, and that's how they ended up getting back together and going over to the neighbor's house. So, having said all of that, they did that, and as they were trying to leave, the tether just is right there in front of the car. So, the dad, this is the part that trips me out. The dad was like, "Alright, back the car up. The little girl's like, "Everybody buckle up." Okay? She was so gangster. She was like, "Alright, yeah, we about to take her out, because I'm tired of this." So she basically took her out, basically didn't hit her with the car because she climbed up on the car, but they got her pinned down, and then they got her to a place where she was on the car, and the girl was going so fast, and then she slammed on brakes and then threw her body into the woods, and she died. She did die, but she was, she was trying like hell to kill Lupita. She was hanging from a tree, and all she could do was reach that arm out, but she was so evil. She was so willing to finish the task. She was trying her hardest to get her, and Lupita just couldn't kill her. Which, again, more foreshadowing, right? I'm like, why in the hell did she take that little girl out? Obviously, she's gonna die, so you don't have to do it. But, she definitely looked at her and was just like, I'm not gonna kill you, I'm not gonna kill you, you know what I'm saying? Just one of them things. And it was kind of one of those understood things, So the little girl dies in the tree. Okay, cool. They get back in the car, and then they go, at this point, I think they go, they try to go someplace else. And while they're driving, their car is now set on fire in the middle of the road, and the little boy now has set a trap for them. So now they're in the car. The little boy has their car set on fire, and when Lupita gets out the car, which I was like, what is she out the car again for? But when Lupita gets out the car to go see about the kid, he's got this, his hand is doing the thing like the other kid. His above ground tether, okay, constantly has a lighter in his hand. He's a pyro guy. He loves fire, okay. So the kid has his hand, he's doing this with his hand, and he's got a match in his hand. And then Lupita looks down as the little kid in the car is like, "Get out, this is a trap." How does he know that? Who knows, right? But anyway, so the little boy was going to basically, it was gasoline going from where he was all the way to where the car was, so he was basically going to burn them up. That's how that was going to go. But they got out, and, Lupita was able to, actually Lupita did nothing. What ended up happening with this situation was the kid knows that he can control his tether, so he backed himself up all the way back up, so that he could kind of get the kid to back up into the fire. And then that's how they killed the little kid, tether, okay? Well, while he's doing this, after he's done this, then Red, Lupita's tethered, comes out of nowhere, okay, literally, and swipes him up, and then takes him back to the fun house, and now it's on and popping, and we all know, okay, Lupita's got to now go to this thing to go get the son. She's got to go to get Jason now, okay? So this is where the movie turns turned. It gets so turned. It turns into a true horror film at this point. And I know I might have said a lot of things in the past 20 minutes or so about this movie, and I know you probably are like, this has already been a horror film, but no, it gets scary at this point. Like, okay, now your anxiety level is way up. Like, okay, bitch, now you going down here where they at. Jesus, why? My only concern was there more of them down there, which it wasn't, because they had, they basically put this attack together, so everybody was out of the tunnels, and really only Red was down there, waiting on her, That's really what was going on. She was waiting on her. So once she gets down there and finds her, which, I mean, it takes some time. It takes some time for her to get down there, for her to find her, all of these things. But once she gets down there, like, man, it is so intense. That conversation again is intense because she was talking about this time about how she was a dancer and how she danced, you know, all the time. And that's when Red told Lupita that I realized that I could control you. You see? And that should have further let us as the moviegoer know that something just ain't right with Adelaide, because nobody else can be controlled by their tether. Nobody else can be controlled by their tether. Nobody else. Right? At least that's the thought. Nobody else can be. You control the tether, they don't control you. Right? So she realized that when Adelaide was in, you know, dance classes and stuff, she realized that she was the one that was controlling her. And anytime they were like in the mirror and stuff, because, you know, kids dance, you know, when you dance ballet, you know, you have to dance on the bar in front of the mirror, and bruh, it's just too much. It's just too much. Okay? So, she goes down there, she finds Red, she talks about this and everything. Then they start this fight, and that's when I Got Five on It comes on. This interpolation, this new mix of I Got Five on It. Red and Adelaide are fighting, and Adelaide is moving every time. I mean, Red is moving every time Adelaide swings, because she knows where she's gonna hit. She knows what she's gonna do because she knows her. She is me, basically. So, it was just a very poetic, very beautiful part of the film when they were dancing. It was almost like a ballet with themselves, and Lupita just was phenomenal on 100 different levels. And then, you know, they basically get to a place where, you know, Lupita has lost eyes, or lost Red. She doesn't know where Red is. And then she's in there, she's looking and everything. And then Red appears behind her, and then she stabs Red. She stabs Red, and she kills Red. You not just a regular kill, dog. Like, this is a animalistic kill Red. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it was very intense, and she realized she had to take her out like that. It wasn't enough to stab her and leave her. You had to take her out. I mean, that's just real shit. So, so she did that. She came and she found Jason, her son, somewhere in a locker in there, and basically they came out or whatever, and they left. Okay. As they're driving away, Lupita's thinking about that night all over again, and realizing that it was her who was the tethered. Okay? She realized that it was she that was the tethered, and it wasn't Red. Red is rightfully so pissed the fuck off because she's a regular human being who was born above ground and destined to live and do the things that she wanted to do. Whereas, you know, before she went into that fun house and found, you know, Lupita, okay, you know, she was going to have a normal life. So once she went in there, they showed how the doppelganger choked her, knocked her out, drug her back to the tunnels. So drove her back to the tunnels, drug her, back to the tunnels, chained her up to the bed. Lupita's waking up at this point. Okay, real Adelaide's waking up. She's chained to this bed, and then she's watching her tether put on her t-shirt and go. And so basically, the tethered comes out and goes along with the family. So what I didn't mention earlier was that once this whole ordeal had happened, they didn't show any of this at first, but once this whole ordeal had happened, when she came out of the funhouse, they had to take her to 100,000 different specialist because she wasn't speaking after that. She was traumatized. They believe she had post PTSD. They thought she had PTSD, and it wasn't PTSD. It was the fact that she didn't know how to speak, because she just didn't know how to speak because she had lived her entire life underground with her parents who didn't speak English and were controlled by their tethered up above ground. Right? So she's thinking about all of these things as she's driving away, and she's looking over at her son, and she starts this little weird grin, and he's looking at her with a side eye. Like, he's like, who is this bitch over here? Like, yeah, you look like my mama, but who is this over here? You know, so I kind of feel like the son is well aware that his mom might have been a tethered. And I kind of feel like the little boy was also a tethered. That's just how I feel. Now, you guys will have to watch the movie, and you'll see that the other tethered little boy, his face was burned off, but that was mainly because he was really into fire. Something happened. But that doesn't mean that couldn't have happened last year when he got locked in the closet before, remember? And he's got this lighter, and he can't do this magic trick. It's like he remembers the magic trick, but he can't do it. And it's because he never did the magic trick. You're the tethered son, and the other kid did the magic trick and knows how to do the magic trick. You know what I mean? So that is my hot take on that. Obviously, it's not too hot because I think that a lot of people feel this way, but I definitely believe that Lupita and the son are tethered, who have now gotten to a place where they can kind of be kind of passing as just, you know, regular folks, right? Because you know, that's what this is. So it's so many different things to unpack with this movie. Lupita let me know that she was a tethered long before the epiphanies in her head. The way that she killed the white girl and the way that she killed Adelaide let me know that she was a tethered. She was extremely animalistic. She was extremely crazy. She grunted like them. She was, oh my god, it was really a trip. It was really a trip. So I really hope that you guys have an opportunity to watch this movie. Hopefully, if you have seen it, my analysis is on point with what you thought. But overall, I really enjoy the hell out of this movie. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like I'm gonna buy this movie when it comes out. I feel like I need to have it physically, just because it's so amazing. And I didn't feel that way about Get Out. Now, Get Out was a good movie. Now, I enjoyed it tremendously, and mainly because the ending was so favorable for black people. But no, this movie is more than, you know, it's more than what meets the eye with this film. Like, there's so much more. I didn't even go into the biblical, you know, stuff, that Jeremiah 11:11, you know, basically saying that I will bring forth all the force, and when they call for me, I will not hear them, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So it's just, it's amazing. It's amazing. I don't know what more to say about that outside of the fact that I was genuinely just pleased as punch. I was stressed. I was a little scared in some places, but overall, I was so ecstatic about it, and I'm kind of bummed out that I wasn't able to get to the movies, you know, back in March to really take it in. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I wanted to watch it at the movies, right? Then I wanted to go to the hood movie theater and watch it with the black people. Because again, you know, listen, there's different experiences for different things, okay? And I'm here to tell you right now, I saw Baby Boy in the movie theater in Savannah, Georgia when it came out, and it was with a bunch of black people. And I'm here to tell you this is the most enjoyable scenario I've ever had in my life. Black people did not talk too much through the movie. There was plenty of talking, but nothing was missed on the movie screen. Like, it was a fantastic experience. We just have different reactions to shit, and it's necessary to experience that with your people, okay? So I definitely wish that I had that experience with this movie, so I will make it my business at least try, okay? knock on wood, for Jordan Peele's next movie to try to get to the movies and make sure that I can experience it in all the ways that I know I should. But I mean, if I had to rate it, I would give it an A++. Fuck it. Okay? I've never been more pleased with a film that's a horror film. I've never been pleased with a horror film. I mean, there's scary movies that are good and everything, but I mean, that's not movies that you would typically watch on a regular basis or over and over again. I could see myself watching Us over and over again, honestly. So there's a lot. There's a lot there. This is an hour and 30 minutes in. I apologize, but not really. I took about 40 minutes to talk about Us. So there's that. We touched on tons of things. I hope Miss Maleah Davis is found. I hope that Steph and Ayesha can get themselves together, on both fronts. I'm gonna pray for all the Georgia women who are late on their periods. I'm gonna keep an eye out on this essential oil thing, and I'm also gonna keep an eye out on the Maleah Davis thing just to check to make sure the young lady gets found. And my last bit, I have this new segment I'm trying to test out here, and it's called Who Raised Y'all? So, who raised y'all? Who raised y'all? This is Uno edition. Uno edition. So, a couple of days ago, Uno decided that they were going to tweet out some vital rules, okay, to the game. And one of the rules was, and I told my cousins this, and my cousins was like, what the? But anyway, the rule is, I don't know how you guys play, but when we played, when I grew up playing Uno at different summer camps and stuff, after school programs, bam, we have a big old table. We have like 3 or 4 decks of Uno and Uno cards in there, and we just put them all together, get it popping, everything, right? So, when we played, say I put down a draw 2, okay? Put a draw 2 down. The next person either has to draw 2, or they can put a draw 2 down, and then that means that the next person has to draw 4, or they can put a draw 2 or a draw 4 down. The next person got to draw 8, and then they can put something down. So ultimately, it could get to a place where everybody we used to call it setting it off. All right, time to set it off, and then we could get to a place where the person that started it could be the one that has to pluck all the cards. You see? So I love the shit out of playing Uno with my people. I truly did. Shout out to ISIT. Shout out to Miss Veronica Miller, and shout out to Brandon Miller, her son, Brandy Murray, niece, and everybody who attended the ISIT summer program. Thank you for being part of my childhood. Thank you. Okay? So Uno came through and was like, yeah, that's against the rules. No, if you put down a draw 4, the next person has to draw 4, and then they can put down a card. And we were like, man, well, first of all, who even asked y'all? That's the real question. Who asked y'all? Nobody asked y'all. Okay? So yeah, it's not a real who raised y'all, but it's kind of like Uno, who asked y'all? So, it doesn't matter what they say. We're going to play it the way we want to play it, okay? So, if you're playing Uno with me, just know that we got house rules, and one of the house rules is that we stack. Simple. We stack, okay? And then we got so fancy with some of our stuff to where we play skips and reverses, too. Where, like, if somebody set it off and then they ended with, like, a red draw 2, and you put a red reverse on that bitch, that person has to do it. Bruh, it's crazy. It's crazy. So we had fun. I don't know of what Uno's trying to do here. I don't know what kind of bullshit they're trying to, set up here, but they're trying to take away the fun. So fuck Uno. We're gonna play it the way we want to play it. Okay. But that is really it. That's really it. I don't have much else to say. Guys, I really hope that you enjoyed the hell out of this episode. I know I did. I actually enjoyed recording this one. And I'll keep you posted on Miss Maleah Davis and any other things that I mentioned in this episode that require follow-up. Okay? As usual, I pray that y'all have a fantastic weekend, have a fantastic week ahead. And again, let's bring up that goddamn beat.